Hi, everybody. How you doing today? All right, so we're on to our third installment of who is that mystery singer, Sivle Nora. All right, so while we're waiting for everybody to come on, I'm going to play a song. I didn't really put much video into it, but I figured we could listen while we wait for some people to come on. Plus, I'm a little early,
I
so
know it's been quite a while, and it's so good to see you again. It's so dark in this place that I can't see your face. May we leave? Oh, I see. Does he know who I am and what once was between you and me? Do you know how I tried? Have you any idea how I tried? Not to keep you inside. Do you know, darling, how much I cried? I remember you said that you had to forget about me and be free. Do you know who I am, or have you forgotten about me? Do you think there's a chance you and I could start over anew? Is there a
hi, everybody. How are you doing today? Hope you enjoyed that little interlude, beginning of that Do You Know Who I Am music video. It's not quite done yet, but I thought I would give you a little hint as to what's coming up next. When we get off, you see two more music videos. Those are from the Civil Sings Again album. All right. I'll just show that to you. Oops, right here. All right, it looks like this. This is Civil Sings Again. All right. And it has 10 songs on it, so it'll be great. Hi, Katina. How are you today? And it's not quite evening here yet, but that's okay. No problem. It's only afternoon here, but nice to see you or hear from you. All right. And the other two people watching as well. Hello, hello. All right. So I'm going to continue on with the Elvis files, and um, I want to continue on where we left off. Well, it kind of left off. We had talked about how this gentleman who claimed to be Sivle Nora on the Geraldo show was hired by this Sanchez and Crown company. So I thought I would give you guys a little insight on that today. She's got quite a bit, let's say, quite a bit of information that she's researched plus letters. So I'm going to do the best I can. I don't want to read everything out of this chapter, but it's pretty meaty. So all right, so there's so much mystery surrounding Sanchez and Crown. So many addresses and not active. There was eternally Elvis in Wilson Manors, Florida. Another address in Fort Lauderdale. Direct Products, which produced the book Elvis, Where Are You? Now that was a book that was written by Stephen C. Sanchez. Okay. And he wrote this book, Is Elvis Alive? Elvis, where are you? That's what he's asking. And of course, he witnessed him, in the video, you saw him smiling away. I believe that's him. Or either that or it's the Crown guy, but I'm quite sure it's Steve Sanchez. Okay. So apparently, wait, that company dissolved. In December 1980, according to Susan Payne of Florida's Secretary of State in Tallahassee, Direct Products was a company located in Coral Springs, Florida. Maria Columbus of the Elvis special had been trying to locate Steve Sanchez in order that he make good on a bad check he issued, and she had been informed that his account had been closed for no forwarding address. Okay. So this Steven Sanchez obviously wrote a bad check to the one of the leaders of the Elvis fan club called the Elvis Special. Maria Columbus is her name. What's interesting is how this company, Sanchez and Crown, moves around and has empty addresses. Now, and the truth about Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words, he had stated that he had moved all over the country, just so that he wouldn't get recognized. He was originally doing police work in Miami, but got seen and recognized. And his guys that were with him, his security, thought it wouldn't be wise to keep him there. And he got a lot of plastic surgery to change his look. All right. But there's Hi, Dragonfly 17. How are you today? Okay, so, but there is places that he had mentioned in his book here, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley in his own words. He said, what were they? Not Topeka. Hold on. I can't find it. Well, anyway, I know he did work in Miami, Copia, and there was another place to be near Lisa Marie later on after Lisa Marie married. So he was in out of Florida. Jesse Elvis, that's what he likes to be called, Jesse right now, moved all over the United States. He loved the hot states, especially Hawaii and Florida, Texas, and he says that in here. And he did a lot of traveling as well, which could explain why he was doing different things. Did a lot of different things. So we're going to focus on this Sivle alias at the moment, which is Elvis backwards. Okay. So she was talking about there were no records from the bank for this bounce check. Meanwhile, in eternally Elvis attempt to keep Sivle Nora in the public eye as Elvis, Miss Columbus received a communication on April 10th, 1981, from Sanchez. At the foot of the letter was an imprint. May the king live forever. It says, enclosed is a tape of excerpts from Sivle's first album, entitled, Do You Know Who I Am? Please excuse the poor quality, as we are not able to make a transfer from the original with professional equipment due to the expedience of this matter. I will be home all day and night on this Saturday, awaiting your with anxiety your call. I spoke to Sivle earlier today, and I of course relayed to him the gist of the conversation that I had with Jeannie last night, and he told me to send my personal regards to you and Jeannie, with warm regards. Note that although Eternally Elvis Incorporated was influencing the people to believe that Sivle and Elvis might be one and the same from various stories told by the psychic entertainer, he wasn't hired until after the date of the above letter. So 7 years later, in 1988, I received the following letters from a so-called Future Productions in Florida. At the time I received them, I had no idea that the writer of the letters could possibly be Steve Sanchez. I'm still not sure they came from him, but it said, Dear Gail, I have in my possession the most amazing tapes in the world has ever heard. Having this information is not only a privilege, but also a great responsibility. I have given instructions to market the tapes any way possible and to use a portion of the proceeds to help a designated group of people. Please understand that this matter must be kept under the uttermost security. Therefore, I am unable to respond by phone. Please contact me at Future Prod. The marketing of tapes will be monetary and personal benefit to all involved. Now, she said, as had not Future Productions run a public advertisement about the tape and given me a name, I would have honored the utmost security request. Because for one thing, it's saying, market. It says, I'm giving you this tape. And it said to market these tapes any way possible. But then it says to keep them quiet. So you're like, which one is it? Right? It's kind of like confusing there for a minute. So she just went one route and attached that tape to her book. Is Elvis found alive? Is Elvis alive? The Elvis tapes. The second letter was in reply to my asking for further information. Well, a while ago, I received a request from you for a story regarding a tape that you have in your possession. After seeing and hearing your sincerity on Larry King's show, I am convinced you should know of a tape that has never been heard by anyone at any time. It is not only the time proof you are looking for, but the world shocker as well. If you have any suggestions on how to present this material to the public, please contact me through Future Productions. And this is in Plantation, Florida. So, could be a possibility. And I'm going to go out on a limb here that it could be Sivle himself contacting her and asking her to do this. But we don't know. It doesn't say. She's thinking it is Steve Sanchez, but it could be the other way around. We don't know, especially about this tape. So, she said after she received this, again, listing from Future Productions, the ad sounded like the same old Sivle tapes. With the picture of a youthful, smiling Elvis in a bold print, an advertisement asked, Elvis alive? And then there came, finally know the truth. Here's a newsman all over the country proclaiming Elvis is alive. Listen in the wonder to music never before released. Be amazed at the interview that amazed the experts. Destined to be a classic. 100% satisfaction is guaranteed if the purchaser sent $8.95 to Future Productions at Plantation, Florida address. The mystery widened when I received the following unsigned letter in August of 1988. By the envelope and by the tape on the letter itself, I had ascertained that it came from the same hand, which wrote the two letters from Future Productions, and thus I have suspicions that the tape referred to was Sivle Nora, not the tape included with Is Elvis Alive? Okay, so that must be a different tape. Sorry. Since the Future Productions advertisement says music. So the contents of the 1988 letter infer that the writer knows Elvis Presley and that something went wrong. Note that it mentions the year 1981 in first acknowledgement, which is the year both the monologue and Sivle Sings Again went public. I'm not sure about monologue. I'll have to look that up and see what's up with that. I don't know if I'll find anything. I have no idea if Sivle on the album cassette is Elvis Presley. However, my instincts, together with the material presented, say something afoul. And still, I would be remiss not in zeroing in on what was presented to the public in 1981. I also do not know if those presenting Sivle are involved with the civil enterprises connected with Graceland Express, despite both being in Florida. From what I understand, Graceland denies any relationship with Sanchez and Crown and Sivle. Okay, so this is interesting. But there is another one called Civil Enterprises. So the existence and the non-existence of Civil has caused controversy and speculation in some of the fan clubs, and I suspect most important information will emerge. So the unsigned letter in August of 1988 of numerological, Ben pointed out that it is numerology based. August 8 and 88 is, 8 plus 8 plus 8 equals 24. Or you can go 8 and 2 8s is 16. I was truly gifted. Higher sources were at work. I should be discreet and not push the time scale. Elvis himself has forgotten certain things from his past, things that he has told no one. Things are not always as they appear. I was just an experiment. One that he has chosen to put behind him, to dismiss, and that I feel hurt and disregarded. So I'm not quite sure exactly what that means, but it's interesting. And the letter ends with, there is always more to things than meets the eye. She said in 1989, when she was researching future productions, she wrote them, and I am just kind of skipping over there. Basically, it was like it disappeared again, So the contents of her letter made it clear that I wanted correct background information, if they had any, on Sanchez, Crown, or Sivle Nora. I also made it clear I authenticate whatever is possible via experts, preferably law enforcement experts. So most of her things that she gets from him, she has authenticated. Yes. And Shane, I'm going to take a minute here and stop. Shane Greener says that in 88, Elvis was in Alaska. Elvis was everywhere in 88. So he had, let's see, in 88, I think we're going to go over that when we do Spelling on the Stone, but in 88, he was in Alaska, and Pepper Ritter had met him there. He was in Michigan. He was known to be in Texas. He was also in Tennessee. Yeah. So he was kind of moving around everywhere in 88. And I'm not quite sure. Right, in Kalamazoo. And he was in Kalamazoo. He was seen in Kalamazoo by that lady at the hotel. I can't remember her name right now, but it'll come to me eventually because it's in here somewhere. But yeah, he was in Kalamazoo. He was in Tennessee. He was spotted. Yeah. And he was spotted in Burger King in Kalamazoo. I think he worked in like a motel that he owned. He owned that, which I will go over that night, later on. I'm gonna cover that probably. But Spelling on the Stone, the album and the song, came out was given to the record company in 1988. And they came at 2 shifts, and there's a story for that. And I will actually, if you want me to, I will plug that video in. There's a video called, I gotta wait a couple of days before I can add anything onto this website, but I can put in description, called The Interview. from Spelling on the Stone. If you listen to that, you'll get a lot of that in 88. There's a lot going on in 88 for him. So it could be by the time she's getting this, let's see, in 88, the letter in 88, then, who knows. In 89, the company was gone already. So he moved around a lot. Yeah? Cool. All right. So he said he lives in Kalamazoo, and then he said the building he was renting it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back into, let me finish this, and then we can chat some more. Okay. So then, so she said, that a proof that the mystery tape included in Elvis Alive has long been around and can be found in the excerpt from a letter to Lorna M. of Tickfaw, Louisiana, dated August 7th, 1987. The tape you received from another area of intrigue. I have the exact tape. It was sent to me by Steve Crown and Steve Chances of Florida. Now, I think this is kind of interesting. Steve Crown. If you think about this, all right, and this is 89, now 87. Now, Down in Mississippi was recorded in 87, and it was done by a Steven Silver. And if you turn silver or you move silver around, it will say Elvis. If we think about this, if he says Steven and he uses crown, king, who's the king of rock and roll? Elvis. So you see what I mean? A twist of names and aliases that could be identifying him as Elvis. He's not allowed to name himself Elvis anymore. It's trademarked. But he does use, I see your comment and I will tell you after. Okay. So during this time frame, we found out my mother had cancer. I asked Mr. Crown and Mr. Sanchez if Sivle Nora, if that's the name he went by, could call her. Well, he did. He called 3 times, and each time Mom was at the doctor's, he would tell my brother to tell her that a friend called. My brother swore the voice he heard was indeed Elvis Presley's. And shortly afterward, these men vanished. I wrote letters to them, and they were returned. Their telephone number was disconnected. I could not find a listing from them anywhere in Florida. In one of our earlier conversations, they told me they were planning on moving their Eternally Elvis headquarters because of all the people hanging around making Sivle nervous. So if Sivle was an imposter, he certainly went a lot of trouble calling people who were sick or dying. Why? What would his purpose be? And if David Darlock is the man, that voice, then why was he doing so? After all, on Geraldo, he stated he had only made a tape for what he thought was a fan club. And on the surface of these murky waters, it appears that Sanchez and Crown were not connected with Elvis at all, and either had bootleg tapes or tapes done by an imposter who knowingly was trying to create a hoax, the psychic entertainer included. Except that, so these are the things that she says, Sivle is the name used by Elvis when booking studio time, according to Chet Atkins in Peter Hanning's Elvis in Private. In the Jimmy Ville Museum in Florida, on display is Elvis's wristband engraved Sivle. On the Sivle Sings Again album, etched secretly in the black portion of the record are the words Elvis Inc., which is registered trademark for the estate of Elvis Presley. For those who have a copy of this album ordered via Sanchez, hold the album up to the light and you will see Elvis Inc. etched. Hard to see, but it's there. I will have to check that out. I have the album here, but I can't grab it right now because I'm on live stream. But I will check that out and I will let you guys know if I see that because that is cool. And in September 1987 issue of Graceland Express, the official news publication of Graceland and a division of Elvis Presley Enterprises Incorporated, on page 12 was the following ad: Sivle Enterprises Incorporated. And where is it located? Florida. So in 1987, the so-called Sivle Enterprises, located in Hollywood, Florida, advertised a tribute in blue and the 10-year commemoration of Elvis's death. It included a blue suede ribbon, T-shirt, poster, bumper sticker, and a closeout special of $14.95, reduced from $24.95. And below is part of the earlier customer invoice of the package. And so she shows this invoice. Now, because I have like kind of a blanked out background, you're not going to be able to see this. So what I will do is I will take a picture of this and I will post it in the community board when I am done today. Okay. So you guys can see these. Quite interesting. It says Sivle Enterprises on here. I'm kind of looking to see if there's anything else I could do. All right. So Maria Colombo knows that in this chapter, there's a book, I guess that she's talking about. I'm not trying to fool anyone, but to present what is a very confusing series of events, particularly in regard to Sivle Nora mystery. So in September 1981, Maria received a letter from Steve Sanchez bearing Eternally Elvis letterhead. And the letter was printed in Elvis Special. And it was clear that Sanchez's was trying to get the idea across. Sivle and Elvis were one and the same, as Stephen writes. When I first met Sivle some 8 months ago, I was the happiest person on the face of this earth. I was prepared to fight the entire world, but his stubbornness has finally worn me down. I can appreciate that he wants a life of his own, but for a life of me, I cannot comprehend why he will not at least make one public appearance. Quite possibly he has hidden fears, or maybe there's some legal complications that I don't know about. I do know that he hasn't told me everything. I can't say that I fault him because it is not his idea to go public in the first place. It was mine and mine alone. He is my friend. Make no mistake about it. There isn't anything he wouldn't do for me, and there is nothing that I wouldn't do for him. For that, I am very grateful. He loves to lavish people with gifts, but the best gift that he had given me, and the gift that has most value, is his friendship, and I'll cherish it forever. So he says, Steve Sanchez also says that it is now to bid adieu to the Sivle as a business. And from that, I gather that it was not long after that Sanchez and Crown disappeared and Sivle went underground. Could that be that Stephen Sanchez was truly somehow in contact with Elvis Presley and that something was happening or about to happen, and Sanchez did something to betray Elvis? Did the mystery tape actually come from Ellen Foster, whom Elvis knew and who, according to some, Elvis called after August 1977? Can we prove the connection between Steve Sanchez and Ellen Foster? Remember, we already know there was a connection between Mrs. Foster and Elvis Presley, which I had wrote and read the interview that she had taped. And so she wants to go on a little bit more about the tape. So I'll just finish this, and that's going to be it for now. And then I'll look at comments and stuff. So the Elvis special, after printing Sanchez's letter, responded, "We still feel Sivle could be Elvis. Elvis picked real turkeys for friends." He could be still, he's still doing it. We're giving you every chance to follow through for Sivle, and you blew it. If you can't handle pressure now, how the hell do you expect to handle the pressure of working for Elvis? Elvis expects perfection, and you seem to fall short of it. And this is Elvis. We'll take 110% behind him. Sivle wants to continue his music for his fans. Fine. Tell Sivle to contact us again, and we'll take care of business. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So there is a possibility, and I'm not saying that that it happens, but it could be a possibility that, you know, there were some things that happened. There were indications. And the song, Loving You, is it Elvis? So the song Loving You, I have out a video I did yesterday. You guys can listen to it. At the end of that video, he says, "Hold it, hold it." I can't really put it up here because I can't look it up right now. And he says, Reagan has been shot. I looked up the date, 1981, I believe it was November. It's on the video last night. If you guys want to look at that, you may. And yeah. So it says in his book, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words, it says that he did move around a lot. And when he was recognized, they got up and they moved him out of there. So the same pattern happened every time he get recognized, he would move. The example I'm going to say is that in this book, and I had read it before, I think it might have been Real Life Encounters with Elvis. When Byrne writes his letter, he talks about how he approached a truck that was broken down on the side of the road. Now, this is 1988 as well. Some southern state somewhere. He didn't say what state it was. He wasn't about to say. But the way he described it was quite interesting because he talked about how his hair was all white. He was wearing jeans and a jean shirt and boots. I mean, jean jacket and boots. It was kind of cold. And when the truck got fixed, it was an elderly couple with him. When the truck got fixed, he kind of followed the truck and it went into like a country road that was kind of like no houses around. It was like farmland kind of. And he watched the truck pull into a house. So he went down the street to the next house and it was abandoned. He drove back up and went into the driveway, which was maybe a 5 or 10 minute drive. He said it wasn't very long. And he goes there and knocks at the door and meets the man in question. He knew he was a Southern gentleman. And he figured it out. It was Elvis. Now he goes by Jesse. So the person that asked about Elvis living as Jesse, yes, he lives as his dead brother, Jesse. Okay. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway. So we will see there is a lot of activity going on in 1988 for Elvis or John Burroughs or whatever he was going by at the time. This one here, I think, was short-lived. I think maybe he was founded out, but also I know that he had FBI ties, and he worked for the FBI. And in the 1988 tapes that Gail has out, says that he had to go to Washington. So he was still kind of working, I think, part-time for the FBI. And I think once they start recognizing him and seeing him, he gets scared and he moves away. And this is what happened with Byrne. I don't know what his real name is because he used a pseudonym in this book. Byrne. He said that after meeting him and had his numerology and all that done, and said, "Can I call you some other day?" And he said, "There's no phone." Well, he decided to drive back to the house the next day, and they were gone. They just took off. So the same thing happens every time someone met with Elvis. He would take off. He'd get recognized, he'd take off. And he's still the same way now. He moves around a lot. Because when he gets recognized, he gets scared. And I think he really did want to come out. And according to Dr. Hinton, he wanted to come out, but EPE stopped him from coming out. And of course, you know why. Anyway. In Kalamazoo. Okay, so Shane is saying, I know the building he was renting. Then he was seeing Burger King or our Wendy's. Funny, both buildings have been torn down. Wow, really? Huh. And Elvis also seen the grocery store just outside Kalamazoo, Vicksburg, Michigan. Yes, and I think he spent a lot of time in Michigan. And actually, I think Muhammad Ali was in Michigan and had like some type of ranch there or something. Elvis stayed there for a while. He admitted it. I don't call myself a detective. Okay. I'm actually what they call a girl that's a historian and loves to research and loves to read and loves this topic. And so, yeah, I basically deal with other people's research. So this is what I was reading actually was the Elvis files. Not really my information. It's Gail Brewer-Giorgio's information, but I find it intriguing. But I am definitely going to look at my record thing, my record cover, and I'm going to look that up and I'm going to let you guys know if I see anything. I'll light it up and I'll take a picture of it if I see it. All right. Elvis. Okay, now what's this one? Okay, so as far as I know, he is still with us. If you go on to this website, and I can put it down at the bottom in the description as well, this website will give you updates about him, his health. He's 89, kind of in frail health. I mean, 89. He's had a rough life, is health-wise. He still is in like pretty high security. He calls her on like a highly secure phone. She doesn't know where he is, but she knows it's him because she's had friends with him for, I think 1991 is when she became friends with Jesse Elvis, and she's Shuma in this book, The Truth About Elvis Aaron Presley, in his own words. So that's where you will get everything on that website. There's two websites. This one's a continued one that gives you the more recent updated information about him. Then there's one that doesn't have the continued, but it ends with truth.com. That has all the other information, including some Orion connection stuff. Things like that. She doesn't really cover the Sivle Nora, but I know that Sivle Nora, just by hearing the recordings, the definitely talking voice, and watching this videos. There's a couple videos out that have him playing the guitar and that's Steve Sanchez smiling away. Those are actually very telling. Same laugh, same talking, everything. I can't really do it here because I'm on like a separate stream, yeah, a separate streaming service. So I can't access YouTube right now unless I use my iPad. Yeah. Yeah, he's saying Ali lived near St. Joseph, Barron Springs. Hi, Rhonda. How are you today? Nice seeing you. Wow, okay. That's only 45 minutes. Cool. Oh, you have? That's his gate to his house? Okay. Yeah. Burger King in Kalamazoo. Yeah. And the need property is John Burroughs, right? So Elvis will use multiple aliases. He used John Burroughs. He used Sivle Nora. He used Stephen Sulphur. I firmly believe he did that. I think that he might have been even Stephen Crown. Myself, I don't know. I've never heard of the guy because of the way it's written. He did do Orion songs, not all of them, but some. In my Facebook group that I have open, we're having a big debate on whether he sang certain songs or not. I'm gonna say I used some of the ones that Linda Hood Sigmund put on her site. We're having big debates on that on Facebook. Yeah. Now that is the next guy I'm thinking of. Okay. So as far as I know, John Cotner, there's three of them. I've been researching out John Cotner, but not getting very far. There's one that's actually got like, the Bible, the songs and stuff. Well, the problem with John Cotner is just three different guys, and it's crazy. But I saw a video about how they manipulated Elvis's songs and made him sound more like aged his voice, and then put it to like a cappella or different music and made it kind of look like Aron or like he was an older singer, that type of thing. But if I'm gonna throw this out there, if Elvis was not Sivle Nora, then the next best thing would have been John Cotner, I think myself. But I think he definitely was not John Cotner. I'm not sure. I know of people, I know family members that know him or have seen him after 1977 or talked to him. And I'm not sure. Sometimes they get people very bound to their confidentiality. I know someone who knows him well since 2000. John Connor came out in 2000, like, depends on which one you want to look at online, between like 2009 to like 2014 or 15 or 16 or 19 or something. Then all of a sudden he died. He just like, for some reason, disappeared. Like, you know, so I'm not sure if the early versions of John Cotner were Elvis. All I know is what Linda says is that he's not currently online. He can't have an IP address. If he goes online, he probably uses someone's phone. But I don't know about that. I don't know. Because she says he's not online. And Orion, yes. Definitely Orion. And I think it was because when we read, actually, I did 3 videos on Orion. Are there 2 Orions? So check those out if you haven't seen those yet. They're actually live videos about the 2 Orions. And there might be a 4th one because there is so much information on Orion that I could go one more. I could. We'll see. I think it's because Gail Brewer-Giorgio had wrote the book Orion, and the record company used her character's name and places and everything without her permission. So like copyright. Okay, that's cool. So John Cotner is 2007 he began. Okay, I was close, but not really. So I'm not quite sure if he would be early version of John Cotner. I don't know. I have an audio tape. Sounds like Elvis explaining bought a show in Florida. Can you kind of bought a show? Can you kind of maybe explain that a little more for me? I kind of didn't get that. Unless it's the next one. Oh, wait a minute. Voice was saying there were two John Cotners in the same area. Okay. Well, there's a possibility. Like I said, he could have done John Cotner. And one was an ETA, right? But there's also a one that they said Aron, like Arion, which is a Elvis impersonator. They used to put him underneath John Cotner. Then there was Eli Cuthbertson, and he was being John Cotner. So there might be three, but I'm not sure. I saw her, but I might cover them a little bit. We'll see. But one was Elvis. I don't know. Someone said yes. Linda said no. So I don't know which one to go with. Get what I'm saying? Like, what, they spelled their names differently? Really? So one would be John. Okay, so hmm. Oh. I really don't know anything about that. So oh. Cotner was spelled differently. Oh, okay. Well, I know John Burroughs. I know that. And I know he did those Orion, Sivle Nora, Steven Silver, and the mystery unknown singer on Spelling on the Stone. That's his voice. I know it is, but right. There was somebody that said, "Oh, I was Sivle Nora," but I heard from a family member that he admitted to being Sivle Nora, so I don't know. Anyway, so that Loving You has the talking piece in the back. If you haven't heard it, you can get back on and watch that video. Has a talking piece. Sounds just like Elvis to me. These videotapes here. This one, I think, Nights in the King Realm has like almost like 2 or 3 songs, audio tape, and it's all blocked out. So my question is this: that particular guy on the Geraldo show who doesn't look anything that I don't think even the same stature is this guy that's blacked out. Also said he did an Elvis contest and came in 3rd place. And infectious Elvis laugh came out. Okay. All right. So, that's very interesting. I'm going to try to keep this information. That's why I'm showing this stuff so I can look at it later. I'm going to write it down. This is very interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I have like a couple family members on the page and Facebook. So they've been, and some other people that have been in contact with Jesse Elvis as well. So other than Linda. Um so I will check that out. I'm gonna see. Anyway. I think Deborah Presley Brando had told me that on Facebook this morning that he lost to two other people in an Elvis contest and came in third place. And I went, no way. People don't know Elvis's voice. That's pretty sad. But maybe he was going through some voice problems. Who knows? That's what I heard. Anyway. So I'm going to finish this off with the rest of this video that I made, but I'm going to fix it. I'm going to put different pictures on it. Don't worry. But this is the audio clip of Do You Know Who I Am?
You still care?
From
Has
that
it
album.
just been too long and we're through? Well, what about you and him? Oh, he's only a friend. Well, I see there's still a chance for me. Maybe some other time, in some other place, with our love in your heart and a smile on
You
your
think that sounds
face,
like
you'll
him?
know who I am. When that time comes, you'll know who I am. You will know who I am. When that time comes, you'll know who I am.
Okay. Yeah, and Orion always wore a mask, but when Elvis wasn't doing Orion, did you notice that Jimmy Ellis took that mask off? When he had the mask off, Elvis wasn't singing with him. That I can tell you that. Or pretending to be him. And the other thing is when he put the mask back on, like in 1989, the record company was called Aron Records, Aron, and it was based out of Canada. So it's a possibility that in '89, all these different companies could have been underneath one particular company, like a balloon, whatever you want to call it, all combined into one. But and I'm not sure, Shane, about an email. I don't know what you're asking about, but anyway, Jacqueline Taylor. That's Elvis Presley singing. I agree. I think it is him. I don't think that anybody could sing like that. And if you listen to Elvis Found Alive on John Burroughs, the recordings, those 15, that documentary or mockumentary or whatever they call it, it's actually Jesse Elvis's voice. He admitted to it on Linda's site. If he sing "Do You Know Who I Am," and it's almost exactly as the way this is sung, and exactly the way Elvis sang it when he was Elvis. So the voice is like unmistakable. I agree. Definitely, I agree. And of course, this last picture is Elvis Presley. I don't have any other photographs of him being Sivle Nora other than this screenshot of him with his back black and white. And of course, the documentary, he was in silhouette. He won't allow his image to come out. And that's what Steve Sanchez said in this book. He said he wouldn't allow them to see him live without some type of disguise. And that's why he got away with Orion. He probably recorded the songs in the studio. Okay, you think that I think Jimmy Ellis Orion that did European shows was Elvis live, but never live in the States. It could be a possibility, but I also heard stories that if you watch the Orion videos when you get a chance to, if you haven't seen them yet, I encourage you to watch them. Um, the story was there were two girls, they were friends. One lived in one state, one lived in the other, and she was this, "You'll never guess what I saw last night. I saw Orion live last night." And her friend says, "No way. I went to an Orion concert last night too." And they were in two totally different states. So it's a possibility that he kind of took on Orion because they looked a lot alike in the face. I think it's rumored, not exactly black and white rumored, but it's rumored that they were half brothers. It's a possibility. I don't know, not confirmed. Do not know, but I firmly believe that Elvis did tour with Orion or Jimmy Ellis, and they switched off on stage as well. I heard that story where like Jimmy Ellis would sing a bunch of songs, and then he'd be all sweaty, and he'd go out back, or the light would go off, get a drink, come back, and he'd be unsweaty, fresh clothes, and ready to do a set of a couple of more songs. Then the light would go off, and then the other one would come back on, and you can't really tell the difference between them because they have the same height, roughly the same height, same stature, same weight. And if one was fat, well, one was heavier, the other one would gain weight to equal. So they were the same height and everything, the same stature, same look in the face. They could get away with it. And of course with disguises and a mask, you never know. Prosthetic nose, brown contacts, you'd never know between Elvis and Jimmy Ellis, who was singing. And if you notice, they always sing with the microphone way up here to their mouth. So they couldn't see the teeth. Because there's a difference in the teeth, that's it. And the hands were different. But I think Elvis deals with arthritis, so it could be a possibility that his hands might have looked a little bit more like Jimmy's later on, a little more swelling. Hands might not be so like looking as long fingered. It's because, you know, or he would keep his hands closed or whatever. He'd do whatever he could to disguise disguise his look on his hands, because his hands are different than Jimmy's, I think. Jimmy's hands had thicker fingers and Elvis's fingers were thin and long. Exactly. And Elvis could sing many different styles in many different ways, and his voice could be different. I actually heard, I have a CD in the car one day, and I was listening to it, and all of a sudden, the song came on, and I'm like, that's not Elvis. And then I said, but it's on an Elvis CD, so it's got to be Elvis. It didn't sound anything like him. So he has a way of changing his voice to make it sound like somebody different. I do not. We do not have any other photographs than the one Linda Hood Sigmund has on her site and in his book. Um, it's done in 1994. It's the only one he felt most comfortable with. You can check that video out. It's called Elvis the Man is Alive, the proof of the photograph. You can look at that one. Kind of has a screenshot of like purples and pinks and all that. It's the only photograph that he allows because he doesn't want to be found. And I don't think it's because of being like bombarded by fans. He loves his fans. I think it's just the fact that he doesn't want the notoriety anymore. He was kind of in a prison as Elvis, but he also worked as had a secret life as a DEA agent and was in hiding. He has to hide. I mean, there's nothing he can do about it. Once you have a hit on you, you know, Ryan video with a white two-piece suit and the red shirt. YouTube is what our friends for. He sings that. I don't know. I don't even remember that song. Anyway. I'm not able to give you my email address, but you can contact me either in community here or I'm on Facebook. You can look up my profile on Facebook. On the group, there's a business page on Facebook as well. Which is like Elvis is the man is alive on Facebook. It's a business page profile. You can do that and you can message me there if that's what you want to talk about. I don't give out my personal email to anybody. They don't have to, okay? Thank you. Reasons for, I don't know, privacy reasons. These things, what are friends for? I don't remember that video. I'm going to have to look that up now. What are friends for, right? That's the one you're thinking of? Okay. All right. I enjoyed everybody. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Yeah, I'm going to look that up. I'm actually going to look up What Are Friends For? And I'm also going to look at that album cover and check that out. And I'll let you guys know. I'll take a screenshot picture and put it on the community page here. I'm also going to put it on the Facebook page as well, because I will take this video after it's all done and I'll update it and everything. It will be taped on YouTube. And I will update it all, and then in the community, I will put what I need to put down in the community. Thank you. I'll look that up. You're welcome. You guys are very welcome. I'm glad you guys are on. Thank you very much for all your participation and all your good comments. I love it. At least I don't have a lot of people that do a lot of negatives. Everybody's going to think I'm crazy, but I don't care. My brother died on April 8th. I love your channel. My brother died April 8th, 2022, and he loved Elvis and was working on a 68 comeback special puzzle. And after his funeral, he stayed up till midnight, finished the puzzle, and framed it. Aww. That's so great. Yeah. It's lovely. Okay. Anyway, if you guys haven't subscribed, you may subscribe to this channel at any time, pass it along, favorite the video, and send it along to YouTube algorithm. Click the button for notifications, and I'll be on some other time, and we'll see what I'm going to do next. I'm not sure if it's going to be a video. It might be a music video, or another live, but I'm not sure what it will be about. So until next time, you guys, God bless you all. Have a great day. Bye.